morning and welcome. Thanks very much for tuning in. This is a live coverage as we continue to put out what has been the ramifications of Punjab tussle that's been happening inside the Congress party and can be seen here in the national capital too. Another G-23 leader, Anand Sharma, has now reacted to the incident that took place outside Kapil Sibal's residence last night in Delhi. And he has tweeted on the same, and I'm quickly quoting from that, where he goes on to say, "Shocked and disgusted to hear the news of attack and hooliganism at Kapil Sibal's house. This deplorable action brings disrepute to the party and needs to be strongly condemned. Congress has a history of upholding the freedom of expression. Difference of opinion and perception are integral to a democracy," unquote. So this is right after Crispino, when we are looking at those pictures. It is said to be in the Jorbagh area of the national capital, a VIP area, but such kind of protest taking place right outside Kapil Sibal's residence when he actually took up some issues when it comes to the Congress party, because he had been asking that there is no president and he's been demanding that the CWC be held immediately. That was a collective demand that has been made by the G-23, but also being said, Crispino, that there were reports of hooliganism and vandalism that had happened right outside his residence. I'm joined by my reporters here this morning to continuously get us those reports. I believe straight away going across to Sumi first up. Good morning to you, Sumi. What are the reports that happened right outside Kapil Sibal's residence last evening? It was being said that there were certain youth Congress workers who were apparently upset with what Sibal had been saying. But when it comes to the other leaders of the Congress party, they are condemning the violence that happened outside Sibal's residence.
Good morning to you, Amita. Yesterday, the Delhi Pradesh Congress Committee workers, party workers, actually protested outside Kapil Sibal's residence, and there were incidences of vandalism and a huge incidence of hooliganism because they were carrying posters of "Get Well Soon." They were also carrying posters against the G-23 leaders, and which is why the sentiments of all the G-23 leaders have been greatly heard. And now we have seen Anand Sharma taking to Twitter to express his emotions over the entire incident, and he said that such incidents surely bring disrepute to the party, because Congress has always stood for expressing their opinions. And remember, the G-23 leaders have always been raising such pertinent questions about the Congress leadership. And yesterday, Kapil Sibal had a press briefing where he asked the Congress High Command to take into consideration the Punjab turmoil that has been going on for some time. And in fact, he also raised a pertinent question as to who takes these decisions in the absence of the Congress leadership. In fact, Rahul Gandhi was in Kerala yesterday. He was in Kozhikode and Malappuram, and we are waiting for him to come back. But remember, Kapil Sibal raised this issue, and after that, DPCC workers went to his residence and in fact raised various anti-Congress slogans, anti-G-23 slogans, and which is why we see all the leaders now taking a stand for Kapil Sibal and raising their voices against the hooliganism that went on to happen yesterday at Kapil Sibal's house. And in fact, Anand Sharma took to Twitter and he said the Congress has a history of raising such pertinent questions and it shouldn't be a matter of concern. And he has also urged Sonia Gandhi to take into consideration the entire situation that happened yesterday, to take cognizance and also to take very stern action against the party workers who have certainly brought disrepute to the party by doing such hooliganism at the Congress senior leaders' residence.
Well, this all stems from the fact of the huge fallout in Punjab after Sidhu put his resignation. Crispin, do throw some light on the meeting that is scheduled today that Rahul Gandhi will convene.
Yes, you know, now Rahul Gandhi all this while, Crispino, was in Kerala. And now he's scheduled to reach the national capital. Of course, he will be holding a meeting with several of those Congress leaders. We're also being told that Harish Rawat will be a part of the meeting. He will be in attendance. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also has left Uttar Pradesh. She's left Lucknow. Remains to be seen if she too will be taking part in this particular meeting. But now it does appear like the Congress party is understanding the gravity of the situation, the seriousness of the situation, with Navjot Singh Sidhu now coming out and saying that yes, he's going to be sticking by his decision. He will not be changing his decision. He will not continue as the Punjab Congress chief, and with Chief Minister Channi talking about how the party is above all and no decision will be changed. So it remains to be seen essentially what happens next. What happens next as far as the Punjab Congress crisis is concerned? Several meetings, Crispino, by the way, have been taking place here in Chandigarh as well. After the cabinet meeting yesterday, Chief Minister Channi held a meeting with AG Deol and DGP Sahota as well. So if there are deliberations going on about a change in the two, remains to be seen. Doesn't look like at the moment, given what Chief Minister Channi has said and given the instructions that have been given by the party high command on how he needs to stick by his decision, and there is no need to succumb to any kind of pressure. But as far as the national capital is concerned, ever since Amit Shah held that 1-hour meeting with Captain Amrinder Singh, and reports coming in of how several such meetings could take place in the coming few hours today as well, remains to be seen what happens. Congress certainly is fearing losing out on Captain Amrinder Singh at this point in time, is why suddenly Rahul Gandhi is rushing to the national capital, and he will be holding this particular meeting with senior Congress leaders. The Congress crisis has exploded, Crispino. You have senior Congress leaders who are now speaking out in the open. What Kapil Sibal said yesterday is something that everyone is agreeing to. Kapil Sibal talking about how ISI and Pakistan could leverage the situation and they should not be benefited with what's happening in the border state of Punjab. So the seriousness of it is being understood by senior leaders of Congress itself, is why now leaders like Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi are perhaps forced to come back to the national capital to take control of the situation.
And that is exactly what is being said with an emergency meeting that has now been convened, but remains to be seen what decisions really is the Gandhis and the Vadras going to take place, because immediately, Shivani, the internal crisis of the Congress party needs to be addressed. We are looking at a similar situation that is happening in Punjab, but the national capital too as well. If we talk about the senior most Congress leader, Captain Amrinder Singh, being here in Delhi, meeting Union Home Minister Amit Shah, tweeting on the same that he talked about the farmer crisis, and he has urged the Home Minister to intervene. These have led to a lot of speculation and a lot of buzz as to what will be his next move, Shivani.
Amita, see, if we talk about the national capital, this is the place where the Punjab crisis had sparked off. Remember Navjot Singh Sidhu meeting all the leaders, be it Priyanka Gandhi, before he took over as the PCC. And then the whole, what we are calling is that the Congress differences, they have exploded now. What we are seeing is a multiple front war that is going on inside the Congress. We saw how Kapil Sibal, he openly gave his remarks and concerns about whatever is happening in Punjab, whatever is the fiasco that's happening, and how it could affect the border state. Remember, Captain Amrinder Singh had also raised concerns about Navjot Singh Sidhu having close ties with Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and hereby he also said that he is unfit to handle this complete state, because this is a border state and a very important and crucial state. So we are now seeing that all this has exploded. Rahul Gandhi has now convened this meeting, and today he might come back to Delhi, where he'll be meeting all these leaders. And the most important on the agenda would be Captain Amrinder Singh, who has met Home Minister Amit Shah yesterday, and a lot of speculations have been fueled after his meeting, a very important meeting indeed. And now Anand Sharma coming out and openly supporting Kapil Sibal. So these multiple segments, multiple fronts have been openly exposed now within the Congress. There is an infight, and Congress is certainly losing out to a lot of important leaders also, and a state, Punjab, is also at stake.
Amandeep joining us on the broadcast. Amandeep, the big question is here is whether or not the Congress will try and placate Navjot Singh Sidhu this time around. What are you learning?
Well, Crispino, it will swell now. It is not going to die down at this point, just because the grassroots of this entire internal tussle in the Congress party started from Punjab, and in fact started from Navjot Singh Sidhu. He started materializing his own wishes, and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra stamping and each and every demand of Navjot Singh Sidhu. But what happened at the end? He filed the resignation, still disappointed, still not satisfied. Still he is upset with the Congress party working, and in fact upset with his own own chief minister. And now that entire tussle has reached to Delhi. G-23 leaders are coming up and even criticizing the Congress party, that whosoever is taking the decision don't know and why, how the decisions are being taken, why they don't have any permanent Congress president. And in fact, now Rahul Gandhi is traveling to New Delhi. If we connect all the dots, if we connect each and every single development happening in the Congress party, that is leading to that the entire tussle will be going to bigger from this point. Just because Captain meeting Amit Shah, Congress complicated, confused, and Congress is guessing, in fact, I beg to pardon, that either he's going to join the BJP or not. But what all happened in Punjab grounds? Punjab is now turning to be in a normal state. Channi has started his own, running his own government. Ministers have assumed the charge. They have started their working, and even they opened their files according to their portfolios. Navjot Singh Sidhu locked himself in his house, meeting certain kind of leaders. These are the visuals of the Navjot Singh Sidhu. Residents from past 3 days, he still remain inside this house. Certain ministers and MLAs are coming here to meet him, but he is not coming out. Only one single statement, and even only one single statement that Navjot Singh Sidhu is still stick to the demands. He wanted to replace AG, DG, but that is not happening. The entire issue and the entire...
Amandeep, just stay on with us. Gaurav Bhatia from the BJP is joining us here on the phone line. Sir, good morning to you, because there are speculations, right, what's going to happen when it comes to Captain Amrinder Singh, but we are looking at the ramifications of the fallout of the Punjab Congress tussle here in Delhi. Their own very senior veteran Congress leaders are raising questions against their own party, sir.
It is very evident that the Congress will soon implode because of the contradictions and the statements that are being made by the G-23 group, like Kapil Sibal yesterday, and today we see the member of the G-Hazur group condemning what he said. The point here is simple, that Congress party is pursuing politics of defeat, propaganda, and their lust for power has no bounds. They can go to any extent to even jeopardize national security, as stated by Kapil Sibal ji, Manish Tiwari, as well as Captain Amrinder Singh ji. It is time that Congress introspects regarding the internal affairs of the Congress, but when they pertain to national security, they don't remain leaders.
But Mr. Bhatia, how is the BJP looking at the developments happening in Punjab? Because what is being said that even Arvind Kejriwal today is all set to make a big announcement, and he too will be now there, you know, as a force to reckon with. That is what the Aam Aadmi Party leader seems to be saying.
In Punjab, the Bharatiya Janata Party is working along with the people of Punjab, and it is the Bharatiya Janata Party that raised the issue of Fateh Kit scam, as well as vaccines being sold in private hospitals at higher rates, not accessible to the people of Punjab, and many other issues. We will keep on working on the ground, and the other developments in parties like the Congress and AAP are not something that we would like to comment on right now.
Mr. Bhatia, sir, thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast as we continue to put forth multiple ground updates, because Republic is tracking all of those updates from multiple cities, where it be it from Delhi, be it from Chandigarh, be it from Patiala as well. For the moment, thank you very much, Shivani, Sumi, Kritsveen, Amandeep, as we continue to put forth what's been happening in Delhi too, because it was the Congress workers who had held a demonstration right outside Congress MP Kapil Sibal's residence, and there were hundreds of party workers that had gathered outside. There are reports of certain vandalism too, but it's being condemned by the other senior Congress leaders that it shouldn't have been done.